Published 1652 EDT, the 4th of September 2017. Updated 1903 EDT, the 4th of September 2017. During what has been a desperate search for progress, Gareth Southgate can at least now claim that his side did not go to pieces when supposedly inferior opposition in blue breached the defence. In that sense, this represented a vital step forward when compared to that encounter with Iceland 15 months ago, an important victory given how striking a resemblance Southgate was starting to bear to another former Middlesbrough manager beneath the glare of the Wembley arch. It would have been an awfully long 35 minutes prior to Eric Diers' most crucial equaliser, the sight of his England side conceding so soon into this World Cup qualifier and then daring to play as badly as they did in response, the stuff of nightmares for the national coach. It was an anxious expression he wore when he returned to his seat alongside Steve Holland after a long spell in the technical area. A look of utter helplessness. England's players celebrate on the way to victory against Slovakia at Wembley on Monday. Gareth Southgate will have been relieved to come through the Slovakia game unscathed. England were so poor one almost felt the need to fire off an apology to Southampton for suggesting in Sunday's newspaper that they were the national team's Premier League equivalent. But when Southgate meets with his players at the team hotel on Tuesday morning to reflect on their efforts against Slovakia, he is sure to focus on the fact that they did possess enough quality and composure to not only dig themselves out of trouble but secure a win that takes them to within touching distance of next summer's World Cup. Southgate conceded on the eve of this game that his side were nowhere near as good as Spain, and that certainly remains the case. For a start, they allowed Slovakia to dominate possession for the majority of the first half in a manner that was alarming to say the least. In the end, however, they showed what Southgate referred to as resilience and maturity, with Marcus Rashford's performance a perfect encapsulation of those qualities given the extremes of his particular evening. Eric Diers pulled the Three Lions back level after they had gone a goal down early on in the tie. Diers heads to the corner flag in celebration after getting England back on track in the match. Southgate is sure to take great pleasure from the youngster's display, not least because his contribution ultimately vindicated the decision to start with the Manchester United forward at Raheem Sterling's expense. But England very much remain a work in progress, and one specific area of concern has to be a midfield lacking the creativity of previous England sides. While Eric Diers and Jordan Henderson boast a degree of competency and solidity, England have been at the best in more recent years when players of quality of Paul Gascoigne, Paul Scholes, Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard have operated in those central areas. Southgate surely needs to look at that, perhaps examining the option of Dele Alli in a deeper role so he can get on the ball sooner. There are still some very obvious shortcomings. Never mind the friendly encounters with France, Germany and Spain that represented a lesson in the finer arts of football. Marcus Rashford made up for his earlier error by slamming home England's second goal. Southgate's England have been exposed all too often by the better teams in Group F. Those draws away to Slovenia and Scotland a measure of the frailty and an indicator of how difficult it has been to move on from that defeat to Iceland at Euro 2016. England's manager considers it unfair to expect an overnight transformation. He is not the Messiah, he tells us. Right now, however, signs of a team emerging that can come into a game of this magnitude and seize the initiative is the kind of step forward that needs to be made. If the opening 45 minutes against Malta was mediocre last Friday, the first half here was utterly abject. Rashford kisses the badge after scoring his first goal at Wembley for both club and country, and the only positive was the sheer will of certain individuals to rescue a desperate situation, with Harry Kane chief among those pressing hard for that all-important goal. Credit to the Tottenham striker for securing the corner that led to Diers' rather fortuitous goal. This morning Southgate will no doubt draw on the obvious positives of Monday night and use them to build some much-needed confidence in this squad. In time, Southgate might be able to look back on this game as a turning point in the fortunes of this generation of international players. England are not Spain, and as we saw in June, they are not France either. But they had actually become a team no longer capable of even reaching the stage of a major tournament where they might meet opposition of such quality. Southgate will hope this was a sign of England's fortunes changing. A sign, at last, of progress. England are now all but guaranteed a playoff spot in Group F after the win over Slovakia.